All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Beckley Wrestling Show. Today we got a three-time ACC champ, two-time NCAA finalist, and a 2023 national champ, Nino Bonaccorsi. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, bro. Thanks for having me. It
Oh
doesn't
man,
get old hearing that intro.
it shouldn't. It shouldn't, man. It's something you should definitely be proud of, especially watching you grow. Like, cause I'm a Western PA guy. I grew up in Murraysville, went to Franklin, so like
Okay.
you. You being from the same same little Whippeal version, man. It was awesome to see just you grow and just what you were able to accomplish, brother. It was definitely a cool ride.
Thank you, bro. Means a lot.
Absolutely. And now are we? I know you stepped into a coaching role, right?
Yep.
Are we still chasing in any kind of like freestyle circuit, senior level, anything like that?
Yeah. So it's kind of funny because my competitive career got kind of put on hold for a little bit. So I had shoulder surgery this summer. I had to get my labrum repaired and everything. So that was something that's kind of because I wanted to just go straight into competing right after nationals while you're fresh. So I kind of had to put that on hold for now. So right now I'm just rehabbing it back and PTing. Uh, so coaching now, but yeah, I definitely think in the future that's something I want to do. And I still feel the fire, and I still feel excited to go compete and everything. Even now, I have to watch practice and stuff, and I get antsy. I'm like, dang,
Oh, it's killing
out there.
me.
So
How
yeah.
has that transition went? Like just from going from being the guy on the other side, like now you're looking at it from a different perspective, a different point of view as a coach. Has it been a weird adjustment for your mindset to switch from one to the other, or is it pretty much the same kind of outlook on it, or how has that transition been for you,
Yeah,
buddy?
I think it's been interesting. I mean, obviously the good parts about it is that for one, I just love wrestling, man, like yourself, and I just it's something that it doesn't feel like I have to adjust to it or get up for wrestling or be excited about it. I just show up every day and I'm just I just love this sport. So it's kind of easy for me to pick up on stuff and just try to learn. And I'm always asking my coaches questions because it is a different side of things coaching now. So, I'll come home, I'll try to research just everything I can. So it's definitely been an adjustment. I think a challenge has been obviously when you're training for yourself, and there's no one you know better than yourself. So when you're coaching, it's kind of interesting to kind of now you got 32 styles to worry about,
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
one. So it's kind of I'm in that process, trying to discover guys' styles a little bit. Something I started off with is I would be looking and I'm kind of thinking what I would do. I'm like, well, I would maybe try this. So I'll give that advice, but I try to remember I'm like everyone has a different style, and what maybe worked for me might not work for them. So
Yes, sir.
that's fun in it, learning different styles. You explain stuff different. So it's been really fun, and I think in a way it makes you honestly a better wrestler because you're
Yeah, I could agree with that. I could agree with it because you're getting a different out. You're like with the way that, I mean, you're just looking at it from this angle instead of like actually being the ones locked up. Like now you're sitting back and you're able to be like, you know what? Never seen it from this point of view. So
yeah.
I feel like it probably could.
It does, yeah. And it's funny because even when I did my camps this summer, just having to explain things that maybe are second nature to you, but having to walk through them step by step, you kind of relearn the move in a way. So I think that's another benefit to maybe when I come back and do compete, you come back maybe a little better because you're just in a different frame of mind and you're just relearning everything. So it's
Yeah,
just been really fun. I'm really enjoying everything. So
good man. I'm glad, and I'm glad that you were able to get it because it was. I mean, with all the time you've put in, like when you think of pit wrestling, like you think of Nino. You know what I mean? Like it's just with the COVID year, you had that extra year.
right.
The two national finalists. I mean, or it just was. You think that you think of you. Like when I think of pit wrestling, it's
Yeah.
like I think of Nino. You know what I mean? So it was awesome to hear that you latched on and was
Yeah.
able to stay grinding with them and helping out the organization and all that. So it's definitely awesome to hear, buddy.
Thank you, bro. Yeah, it means a lot. Yeah, it's exciting to obviously stay around, and um, I think it's a good thing for, like our WPIAL, because it's such a hotbed of wrestling. So obviously winning here, it's a big deal. But then to stay around just following that, I think it just is kind of icing on the cake, and it's been a good ride so far. So
Absolutely. And it seems like you guys do a heck of a job of keeping the boys at home, and I love to see that. Like, if anything, that, and I feel like Pitt is an under the radar always. Like, and I feel like they're such a good wrestling, but they're always like, you always got the Penn States, the Iowas, the even the NC States, and at Virginia Techs or whatever, Ohio State. Like, and it's just like Pitt's always just kind of been like that second tier or whatever, and I don't quite get it, because at the end of the day, whenever you look at it, whenever it's you, Philippi, Coleman, I mean, just absolute animals. I mean, you guys are I think it's really building something, and I think Pitt's really building something special. Whenever they add you to a staff that's already amazing with Pletcher and Garb, it's just everybody. I mean, it's just an amazing things going on there. So.
yeah.
Uh, Definitely glad to see them Whipple boys stay home when you guys are able to latch on to them.
Oh yeah, definitely. And it's just it's something, I mean, we got a good staff, like you said. So if we can keep guys like around, that just builds like to the point where you get to those top programs, and we have the talent for it. We have the coaches. We're getting new facilities, so it's a good time to be a fan of Pitt wrestling. Let's say
Absolutely,
that.
absolutely. Which I can promise you. Like, I mean, that's where I'm a homer. You know what I mean? I I definitely love to see the growth. Love to see where it's going. And really, outside of the Penn States and stuff like that, I mean, it's Pitt's what we got. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah,
Especially, when we grew up 20 minutes from downtown, 25 minutes from downtown. So I mean, it's
exactly.
you gotta have that love for it. That's for sure. And I feel like you represent everything about what that city is, and like what we came from, and I feel like you've represented it so well, bro. Like that, it's been awesome, even as a fan's perspective, and just somebody that loves the sport that doesn't want to leave it. So he started a podcast, but like it's been just amazing. It has, bro. It really has.
Thank you, brother. That means a lot.
Yes, sir. But actually, hey, usually I start off with this, but like, what first got you on a wrestling mat? Like, as a kid, first rocking, like, what got Nino on a wrestling mat?
Yeah, honestly, just it was just a family event. My dad wrestled growing up. So obviously he got my brother into it. I have an older brother. Um, so
Three-time NCAA qualifier.
oh yeah, there we go. So obviously he was involved in wrestling, and then so when I was younger, I would just kind of tag along because they would take him to youth tournaments. Obviously, all around the area. So I was just I got nothing to do. I'm not getting babysitted. I'm not going to daycare. I'm along for the ride. So I grew up in a wrestling gym, man. And like when I say that, it's like sounds cliche, but like literally, like my childhood. Like if I think back, I'm like running
You
around.
really grew up in one.
Yeah, probably getting in a little trouble. Um, so I kind of didn't really know life other than wrestling. So it was like kind of like an easy transition for me. It wasn't like I had to like my parents had to like break the ice and like kind of like slowly weave me into wrestling. Like I was all in. So like when it was time for me to start
There we
competing,
go.
boxing every day, it was like this is life. So yeah, man. So as long as I can remember, I was wrestling, and obviously you learn pretty quick in PA.
Yeah,
Um,
you have
where
to.
you're at, and you just get so much better because you're wrestling these guys. Like even it's crazy, but it's like even the guys in college nowadays, like more like in my class and everything, just these champs and all Americans. Like I grew up wrestling with all these guys, so it's just
Yeah,
goes to show how tough PA is in your area and just how good you can get when you're wrestling with
absolutely.
future champs and all Americans every weekend. You know,
Yeah,
so it's just yeah, it was certainly a good place to start your career. That's for
100
sure.
100%. Couldn't ask for a better place, and I loved growing up out there, like with or without wrestling, and then like you said, it's the hotbed of it, and just having what we were able to like the luxuries that we were able to have with wrestling and being able to compete, because it's definitely gotten even better as time has
Yeah,
went. Like,
yeah,
with me being, I mean, heck, I was 20 years ago, you know what I mean? But like now, when you really look back, it's like, wow, man, these kids are like, even like you look at even Ohio State, like I seen what they just brought in Vinny Kilkeary.
Mhm.
Rocco, like they're even like, hey, give me these whippy old boys. Like
Right.
they're
Oh
it's
yeah.
unbelievable.
Oh, for sure. I think all these schools now, like, I mean, not that they didn't realize it before, but now it's a bigger get for them to get
Yeah.
these local guys, which
Oh
makes it
God.
tougher for us because obviously we want to keep them local. So now we're competing with everyone just because, which is a good thing, I guess. It just shows how tough we are. And like you said, it feels like they're getting younger and younger every year. Like these, like I seen like some 6-year-olds. I'm like, dang, these guys. Like, I
No,
go to these
I love
camps and I'm like, this is like you guys are wrestling like high level already. It's just it's crazy to see. It really is.
it is. It is. I'm hoping that I can get I got a little 2.5-year-old right now, and I'm hoping that we can get him on that level. But
There you go.
my biggest worry right now, actually, I just was talking to I did a little sit down with Mr. Gene from Wrestling Mindset, and it was my one of my biggest questions with him was like how to tackle like youth like without pushing them too hard because I love this so much and like you love it so much. So like whenever you have a child or like how do we approach like not and if you were like as somebody that's made it to this high level and like an NCAA champion, like even someone for me, like I'm asking you, like what would be your advice to be like not to push them to I
Mhm.
guess the best way to go to make them not hate the sport, but find that happy medium to make them want to push to be great, but not make them hate it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like that fine line. And I'm so terrified of it because my whole family's like, oh, you love this stuff so much that you're gonna make him hate it.
Yeah. I know. It is a it is a fine line, but I would honestly say, and it's funny you asked that because even a lot of wrestlers, I know a lot of coaches who get their kids into wrestling, they always kind of say the same thing, and it's like, one, they're a little nervous about getting their kid into it because obviously, if you know wrestling, you know everything it entails. So, as part of you is like nervous for even them to like feel
100%.
that. Like even my if I get a kid and he wants to wrestle, I'm like nervous. I'm like I don't want him to feel like losing or cutting weight. It's just there's a lot of stuff
It's a
that
lot.
you got
Yeah.
to watch for sure. I would honestly say making it honestly not about like the sport and not making it bigger than it really is. Like if you're going to practice, it's not like we're going to practice today. It's at 6:30. Making it like more of like a fun thing for them to do.
Yeah.
And I'd honestly say like even at tournaments, like not reacting to if they win or lose, like not making it like a thing. Cause I feel like that's the problem that I think when kids start having trouble wrestling is they start to get worried about winning and losing. And, like
100%.
they get taken down, they start crying in practice. So I'd say really emphasizing, um, if they're winning, great, this is fun. If they're losing, it's like really like not a big deal. And it isn't, but in the time in the moment,
Right. Not at that age and when you're
right.
7 years old. Cause I mean, I think we've all seen like them parents that's like, dude, he's 7, he's 8. Like,
Yes,
you know what I
exactly.
mean? And I think honestly, and that's what I think I've had so many people say it to me, like I think that they just assume I'm going to be that guy. And I'm like, man, I feel like like, do I come off like that type of person? Like I'm going to do that to my
Yeah,
kid. Like they're just worried that like, no, you just have such a love for this sport that like
right.
you're gonna shove it down. And it's like, no, like if like he comes up, like, was there ever a time like since you started as a little, was there ever a time that you were like, man, I just want to take a break?
Um, You know, I wouldn't say there was a time I wanted to take an extended break. There were definitely times where, um, so I went to Pitbull growing up with Sonny Abe. That was like my club, and his practices were grinds, and he would have they were called Super 16 camps on the weekends, and they were like 4 days long. And
Hmm.
I remember we were doing them like back to back, and I finally like told my like for some reason he scheduled it like he had one, then we was like 2 days off, and there was like another one. And I told, like, my parents, and it, like, tore me up because 'cause I'm like, "I love wrestling, but I just" and I was like,
This ain't fun no more.
"Yeah."
It
I'm
kind of
like
took the fun out of it a little bit.
yeah, I actually, like, try to, like, pretend to be, like, a little s I'm like, "I actually don't really feel very well," and they saw right through that. So I'm like they're like, "What's the matter?" I'm like, "I just don't know if I feel like going this way," and they honestly, they were like, "Okay," because my parents never pushed me or forced me to really do anything. Kind of like the advice I'm giving. Like it was never like you
Yeah.
have to go. It was always kind of like I wanted to go. and I think you kind of leave it up to your kid. Like, if you don't feel like going today, it's okay. We'll do something else. Like it's not like a life or death thing. You go to practice, and that was
Absolutely.
kind of with my parents. So they're like, okay, we'll take a break. So there was like moments like that where like I maybe didn't feel like practicing for a little bit, but but
But
like I
never was like, hey, this is something I might not want to do. Like
said,
this is,
no,
I'm
yeah,
burnt out. Let me step away for a while and see if I come
yeah,
back or not.
no, yeah. I always, was always loving the sport, and my parents tried to almost like pull me back a little bit because I was very intense and intentional, but like I said, it was all me. So I can't say there was ever a time I was like, I'm getting kind of sick of this, Like I said, I didn't know any
you,
better.
I feel like I feel like you have to love it to get to where like because you can tell honestly even in this because this is like I've been watching the last 2 days just because like I want to make sure do my homework make sure I got everything but this interview right here after you win that NCAA championship
Yeah.
like if you didn't say a word in that just how you if you just went strictly off of your how just you could tell that like all the work that you put in, the love that you have for it, like it all showed so much that it was just like it's awesome. I've literally watched it like 3 times right before we started this.
Oh,
Like this man loves wrestling, bro. Like
yeah.
he loves this, and like and you could just like when you first walked in, like you were like wow,
I know.
wow, like this is like had to really like even kind of second guess like did this really just happen? Like
Right, right. Oh, dude,
so
it was one of the best moments of my life for sure. Just like I said, you put so much into it, and there's just a lot of. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff that goes into it. So to finally kind of cap off like this dream I've had since I was 6 years old, watching the guys run out to the mat and everything, to be that guy and to win, it was just like, yeah. It's still honestly like I'm like, it's still sometimes like I see I'm getting tripped up even talking about it because
yeah,
it's a
it's
total.
understandable. It's
It's
huge.
yeah, it's just so it's been great. And honestly, man, a lot of it, a lot of my happiness and contentment comes from obviously I'm happy and content that I won and everything, but just kind of giving it like to my family, like my fam, the Bonaccorsis, we got a national champ, and that's for my dad, my mom, brother, everyone. It to kind of do it for them is a lot of like where my emotion and like disbelief comes from. Like I was kind of want to do it for them a little, so a lot of
I
it
love
stems from just love my family and just the support they've had over the years. I almost felt like I wanted to give it to them, so to be able to do that, I felt like a big relief. So yeah.
that's huge, bro. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I got chills thinking like
I
you
know.
shoot, you getting me, big dog. You getting me.
Yeah.
But that is because that's I mean there's nothing more important. And like to be honest, you got to have in something that I've really learned just through the years of being around it and even talking to a lot of these like all of you guys like you got to have that support system that great family that great upbringing like not saying that everybody's blessed with it but like
Mhm.
luckily like we were and like I mean and I feel like it just helps you so much having that whether it be a great set of coaches your parents supporting every decision that you make your older brother being there to support you and just all of that coming together like it like you said so with all of them backing you I can definitely respect you wanting to bring that home for them for sure brother and that makes it even cooler honestly like it was already something I loved and now you found a way to make it even better so that's cool.
I'm glad. That's great.
Now was your brother a big part like with him going to Pitt being a 3-time NCAA qualifier doing his thing like was he a big part like did you guys ever I mean I know that there's an age difference there but like whenever you were coming up, was he helping get you ready, helping you train? Was he a part of all that?
Yeah, definitely. So he's been a great brother to me. He would he made me tough for sure when I was younger. He would beat up on me. We would play hard, compete hard. So I think a lot of my competitiveness is definitely from my brother. Um, and then in high school, he would come down, during some of his off days or in between when he was in college and wrestle with me, beat me up still there and everything. Um, and then in
He
college,
was good. He was
yeah,
good.
he was. He was.
He
He was.
was good.
He was so strong. Right? I have a funny story about him, but a lot of lot of what he helped me in too is just the fact that he was older than me. So he was living in a chapter that I was yet to go to. So when he was in college, I was in high school. When I was in middle school, he was in high school. So I always felt like I took a lot from what like chapter he was in and try to implement it into my current chapter, if that makes sense. Like I
Yeah,
try to
100%.
take his college like lessons and his mentality in college and try to apply that to high school. So I feel like I was kind of like a step ahead, like in my mindset for all these years.
Yeah.
Uh, and then obviously wrestling, just having an older brother to, just be an older brother has
Yeah,
definitely
absolutely.
helped. But it was funny because so when I made the finals the first time during the COVID and everything was still kind of a mess, and um, I had to get quarantined because I didn't get like I didn't fail my test, but they wanted to like isolate me, and it was right before ACC, so you had to like take 2 weeks to just not do anything. They essentially wanted you to just sit like in your room. And I'm like, dude, we got ACCs. Like,
Yeah, I gotta be
I
good.
gotta make weight. I gotta get. Like, it's just like so. And
Sitting's not an option.
yeah, and my brother, he was working by this time. He's out of college, retired for
Yeah,
5 years. Um, so he came up after his shift, and he came. We had a friend. He had a wrestling room, and me and my dad went up, and we were just talking game plans. And I'll never forget, like me and my dad were on the wall, like talking about what I should do. My brother came in after like working overtime, dead tired, and he's like, "You guys really game planning for me?" We're like, and then we put him through a hell of a workout for an hour and a half, which was for me, but for him after. So it was just like
that's awesome.
that's the
That's
stuff. Like he was very
that's a
selfless.
good big brother.
Yeah, he would do anything for me, man, and he was very instrumental in my career. So it was yeah, just stuff like that. I just always remember. And
Is that a big reason of what made you choose Pitt in the long? Because you're coming out of the country, you're number two. You're number two in the country coming out. You're blue chip recruit. You can go anywhere you want. What made you go? What made you want to be? What made you want to be a Panther?
yeah, well, obviously part of him being there was a big thing because like I said, I would go down to some of the pit practices and I already kind of knew
It's
like
already like home.
yeah, it was already like home and like and I'm a homebody. Obviously, I'm real family oriented. So I didn't want to go far away. I wanted to be able to come home on the weekends, have my parents come to matches, just be close to home. And um, they had a great team. Um, just obviously very familiar with it. I was close to home. So it was just kind of like I didn't even feel like it was like something I had to think about. I was just always like, Nino's going to Pitt.
Or two.
It's just sort of that thing. And I feel like it still is.
Yeah.
A lot of guys still think like,
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, you're the face of. I mean, you are. I mean, and I don't want to take anything away from anybody else. Like it, but it's just my point of view. Like you're the face of that program, and I mean, uh, for good reasons. Like, and I felt like you and Philippi like really held it down very well, and like you guys went through heck, you guys spent a lot of years together, and just
yeah.
both being very highly ranked, very a lot of expectations, high expectations coming from both of you, from with Flo, with everybody putting out the everything, and just I mean I'm sure all the boys got high expectations, but it was like that's
Oh,
the way
yeah.
that the media portrayed it. You know what I mean? Was like
Right,
you and
right.
Philippi, like you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
right, right.
I wish Mickey could have got. I wish because man, I really think Mickey had something special.
Mhm.
And how was your guys' relationship? I mean, because you spent a lot of years together in that room, so it was pretty close with Mickey.
Yeah, me and Mickey were like hip to hip, man. We were very close, right? So obviously, I knew Mickey growing up. We would joke because we wrestled when we were like 8, 9, 10 years old all the time, every weekend. And um, obviously, he went to Virginia first, and then so his first because he was a year older than me. So his year coming to Pitt was my first year, and I remember we talked at one of our welcome back picnics, and ever
Yeah,
since then, man, you really didn't see us without each other. We just
that's
had very similar mindsets regarding practicing, working out, like social life. We were very um, straightforward on that, and that's something we kind of found comfort in each other. I'd say when you're first kind of learning the
yeah,
ropes, going
yeah.
to college and everything. So he kind of stuck together, and yeah, man, we were very close. He was a great friend, still is. But Yeah, he was definitely a special wrestler. He's great.
Yeah, he was. He was. He had a funky style to him, and I really enjoyed watching him. And I I wish he could have been able to get on that with you, and I'm sure he does too. And
Yeah.
because I know there's no way that you could do what he did without putting in a pile of work. And
Oh.
I mean, he should be super proud of what he did, because I know, like, we all are. You know what I mean? Like, he
Oh
was
yeah.
fun. He was
He was
fun.
yeah.
You,
He
you
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say you boys made it fun for it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'd say, if there's anyone who deserves it, it's Mickey. And um I think he's very Mickey's very mature. And um I think he knows the amount of work he put in. He obviously has no regrets with anything. And but at the end of the day, um regardless of accomplishments and achievements, what you're most proud of is the effort you gave. I still believe that. I even, not to bring it back to me, but I still say, even if I didn't win or maybe achieve what I want, I would be as happy as I am, just because I know the effort and the sacrifices I made.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just not meant to be. Sometimes your blessings are later in life. So it's something that you
I
know.
like that though. I mean, that's a really great mindset. Like, to view it like that, and like at the end of the day, the sport's gonna help you. Even that's what I love about wrestling is, like you said, maybe it's something that's greater down in life, and this was just to help you get ready for that. And
Exactly.
it's such an amazing way of looking at it. And that's, man, like, yeah, heck of, you just made a little 1 minute reel for whenever we're ready to drop you, bro. Because like
Okay.
I love that. I do. That
Thank
was
you.
awesome.
Yeah.
And
Thanks.
it's definitely a good way of looking at it. And I think a lot of kids, a lot of high school kids should view it that way, instead of like, this ain't, like you said earlier, this ain't life or death. Like, put the work in. You're working hard for it. We know, like, it's what you want. Because, like, you're talking in your situation, you go that COVID year, you make it to the, with the no fans. Wasn't it the no fans year? You made it to the finals,
Yeah.
and then you come back the next season and fall into blood rounds, I believe, round of 12,
Mhm.
and then you come, like, so. How was that for you though? Like, all right, I'm in the finals this year, losing the blood round. Now I got to come back and, like, reset, like, to where I got to get back to the finals again. Like, what was? I mean, that had to be a lot, just from going from this
Yeah.
high to this to back to this high. Like, you know what I mean? So,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I guess, how was that transition? Like, just going through those 3 years of at the nationals, and just having two amazing outcomes, and one that, did you learn from that one? Or was it more of like a, I guess, give you some ambition, some more, like, hey, I got one more, this got to get done next year.
Yeah, it was, man, it was a roller coaster, to say the
Yeah.
least. I swear, I still talk about it. I feel like I could talk about it for like 10 hours if I could. It's just, it was a lot of having to kind of dig deep. And um y- when I was kind of talking about before, you a lot of times you do make it more than it is. And I don't want to say life or death, but you do kind of base a lot of your career and your success, sometimes your happiness, off of your accomplishments, right? And because I said I put so much into it, put a lot of hard work in it, a lot of sacrificing. Um, you're kind of putting all your eggs in a basket, right? So to kind of punch through, make the finals, you're like kind of figuring everything out. Like, you didn't win, but I'm like, I made the All American. I made the final. So you're just really riding high. And I had a great
Yeah.
summer that year of wrestling. And then obviously you come back. And for me, like, my thing was like, anything less than being the champ is like a failure. Right.
It's
And it's
fair.
totally not the case, but it's just like in your head.
Right. That's it.
And
I think anybody would, yeah, like, it's understandable to
right.
think that though, but,
Yeah.
like,
So
yeah.
yeah. So then it's like, so I obviously fell short, for whatever reason. Sometimes it's just, not meant to be right now. And that like it that was like my lowest point in my career, I'd say, just from coming off of such a high um run. So I had to do a lot of deep diving. And it was kind of, I questioned a lot of things. It was a lot of like, I'm doing everything right. Why can't, this is like my thing that I want. It's
Right.
almost like, why can't I get this right now? It's like, and I delve pretty deep. Like I said, it's just there was a lot that went into it, and um, I grew my spiritual faith. I got a lot closer to God, and um, got a lot closer to myself, and I kind of had to rewire some things and look at wrestling not only just for what do you accomplish, do you win this match or not, like it was more than that. It was more about just like the love of wrestling and giving it my all. And that's why I say, like, a lot of what you look back on and are proud of is the effort you put in. So my thing was like, as long as I'm giving my max effort, I kind of was okay with any outcome. Like, I didn't fear losing. I didn't fear like any if I didn't make the podium again this year. I didn't really fear anything. So in a way, that obviously freed me up and kind of kept me relaxed, but it also made my wrestling better because now I'm not wrestling with a fear of losing. You're wrestling like
And you're such an offense for like a 197-pounder. Like you were such an offense. Like you still are. Like, but like you just offensively, like you were just go. And it it definitely showed. Like I can definitely see how your mindset switched, and I'm glad you found that faith and you found that just something else to hold on to where it's like, hey, this just to let you wrestle free and
yeah,
let you do you and
yeah.
I mean you wrapped off 20-0 senior season with a national title, buddy. If that don't speak volumes to I think it has a lot to do, just me personally, just sitting here listening to your story, which is the whole reason why I do this. But like, I feel like you finding that faith in yourself, finding that faith in God is a huge reason of the outcome of of what you got last year.
Oh, definitely. Without that, I'm not only not the wrestler who I am, I'm not the person who I am. And there's a lot of sides to me that isn't just a wrestler. I obviously try to be a good person, but I felt like it was something that, I was always, not to like brag, but I was always a great wrestler, but
Yeah,
I feel like I needed my mentality and something internal to step up.
yes,
And I
sir.
think it took me that low loss to really have to find that. And I think that, you know, without that loss, maybe I wouldn't have found what I needed, and maybe wouldn't have had the success that I've had. So um, it's
Couldn't
funny
agree
because
more.
in the moment you look back, like that was like the lowest point in my career, I said, but that was like a defining moment in my career. Without
The
that,
reason why, yeah, it's the reason
the
why you're
reason why,
here.
yeah, right,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah,
Yeah. And I couldn't yeah. And with that though, like with all right, so you knew that you've been a good wrestler. I mean, you were a state runner up twice. Uh I mean, you smoked things in the Whippeals for your whole career. I mean, like your whole high school career, you were very you don't come out the number two kid in the country because you weren't dominant in high school.
yeah,
So you were putting in the physical side of things and the effort and the work. But like if you had to sit here and pick, and the reason why I ask is because Mr. G and really Kerry Colat is really the one that really made me view it because he said wrestling's 95% mental. If
yeah,
you had to put a percentage on it in your career throughout all this, like
yeah.
your college career, your high school career, what's your opinion on that? Like, how much of wrestling do you think is mental?
I think like, not to copy Carrie, I think like 90% of it
Yeah, yeah,
mental.
no,
I truly do, and I mean, um, it's just, if you just think about it, if up here's not working, nothing else works. I mean, we've all had those experiences, um, where maybe you're just tight for a match, you're overthinking, your body shuts down. It's just, I don't care how trained you are, how good
100%.
you are. I've seen guys, they're working their tail off every day, do the right things, and I see them go out on the mat and something switches, and they're not. That isn't
Freeze up.
what they are, But if you fix this, and I'm not saying you get a good mentality, it solves everything. That's another thing I try to, I don't want to say like, this is the answer, this is how you win everything.
Absolutely.
But
No,
it
I'm
helps.
with you. You got absolutely because you got to have both. I mean, you still got to put that work in.
Right.
You still got to grind. You still got to, but at the same time, like you said, like you can put all that in, but if you go out there and freeze up, or the mentality ain't right, you have nothing. Because like you just said, like without this, none of this is flowing.
Right.
Like you ain't on your game like how you were wrestling free this last year, and it made a difference to where, and even in them finals, like you had to have such a. I mean, you're down 3-0. You know
Right.
what I mean? And even that, like, it, speak on that a little bit too, because you're down 3-0. Like, where's your head right there? Was it like, oh, was there any kind of panic, any kind of worry, or was it like, hey, still got time on the clock, 3 points ain't nothing, you got it.
Yeah. Dude, so it's kind of funny because I was gonna say, just like I said, I didn't have this. I had no fear about anything, and it was almost like my mind was just like, this is gonna sound like I'm dumb, but there was like nothing going on,
No, but I get it though. It's free, it's open.
It's
Yeah.
free. It's yeah. So it's like, so there was a plenty of times this year where I was losing, and it's just, and in the finals specifically to what you're talking about, um, I didn't. It sounds cliche, but I didn't have like a oh crap moment. Like it was more just like, all right, what's the next sequence? Like it wasn't like, it was just like, I was like, all right, next thing. It wasn't like, all right, well, I gotta adjust this, I gotta fix it, I can't, I'm losing, oh my god. It was more like, okay, like I remember we went back to center, I'm like, all right, try to get out. And then I didn't get out, then it was like, all right, try to ride him. It was just like, so it was just very like, I don't know the word for it, I guess, sequenced.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
remember, and I think back to that, I'm like, dang, like maybe after the fact hindsight, I'm like, dang, that would have been an opportunity to be a little nervous, you know. And I remember even like before we ran out in the tunnel, um, like right before my match, I was thinking I had like a whiff of like like a voice, almost like it's like a angel devil thing,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and it was like, you're this is your last match, this is your last time to do it. It's only 7 minutes. Like it was, and then I was just like,
Mm.
but then it just goes away, and I'm just like, I was just very like at peace and very just calm, like weirdly, eerily calm. And I do think that was um a presence of God. I think he was
Yeah.
watching over me that this um my whole career, really. I don't want to say just this year. I believe he's had a plan for me all along. And I think
It
it was
made such an amazing story. Like
yeah,
it because at the end of the day, like you could have went through 1-3, and I mean the Yannis, the Logan Stevers, the John Smiths, the Kales, like the five timers. You know what I mean? Like they all got amazing stories, but at the end of the day, like what makes yours so amazing, and I feel like can help people is like you seen and went through ups and downs and the roller
yeah,
coasters and kept it and had to switch the mindset and reach into get a little deeper into your faith and get a little deeper and like I
right,
feel like it can really teach the youth or the youngers or the up and comers like, hey, you can have these down times and
right,
still come back and be sitting right here talking about how you,
yeah,
hey, I'm the
right.
last person to win a national championship. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? So
Ex-
I think it's an awesome story, and
Yeah,
sometimes it even beats winning four in a row. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And I know that that's the ultimate goal for everybody, and I understand
right.
that absolutely. But
Mhm,
uh, you you got an incredible story, and
mhm.
I'm super pumped that like you sat down and like just even the parts that we've got through, like it's awesome, man. Like
Thank
it
you.
you definitely I hope that if one kid watches this and is like, all right, that like
Yeah,
it's not the end of the world. We if we take that L, we just get back up, we keep working. You know what I mean?
right.
Or it helps them reach deeper into their faith and find God a little bit deeper. Like either one of those two things, if we can do that, buddy, we accomplish something here tonight.
Oh yeah. You took the words out of my mouth. That was it.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So how you feel the year after you leave and this 3 point takedown comes out?
Man, it bothers me. I can't not believe they added that when I left. Dude, I
It
just
fits you so well too. It would totally have benefited your style, your just you to the T.
yeah, dude, I love neutral, and I just think
Yeah.
oh, better
It,
yeah, I know. I think honestly, a lot of the rule changes are like they add a lot of rule changes. Some of them are hard to follow, but I was always an advocate for the 3-point takedown. I just didn't think 2 points. It didn't reward you for. You could be taking a guy down left and right, and he getting out. And I get there's a beauty to top riding, and it's important, but I don't know.
There is a beauty to top riding for sure, and that's why I'm glad they didn't do the whole 1 point. Like you can't get your 1 point riding time unless you get a turn. Like I don't think because I believe like you're still holding down somebody that's great. Like
Right.
it's still an amazing athlete that you're trying to ride out for and get that minute of riding time. But
Right.
at the same time, like you said, like all right, I've watched you specifically do this. Take somebody down 5 times in the first,
Yeah.
and at the end of the first, it's 5 to 10. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And it's
Right.
like
Right.
he's literally working this kid, and he's one feet to back move and he's down by 1 or 2. You know what I mean?
Right.
It just didn't.
It's almost like I always use the example, like you could even, and obviously every situation is different. I always hear people say it, but it's like you take him down 3 times, he gets out 3 times. His choice in the second gets out 6-4. He maybe squeeze a takedown. You're 3-1 in takedowns, and it's
And
time.
you're tied.
I just
Yeah,
never understood. I
yeah,
so I don't know. So I like it, and I think it's
me too.
it's a good thing, and
I
there'll be a
think
lot of fun stuff,
it definitely benefits the offensive wrestler, which
but
I think it'll create more offense and everything. Now,
yeah,
how do you feel if they would switch everything to freestyle? Like, do you have a preference, freestyle or folk style? And would you be okay? I know it's kind of a 2 question answer, but
no,
like,
yeah.
and would you be okay with even starting from youth, like if we just did away with folk style?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I obviously have a sweet spot for folk style.
Me
I
too.
love
Me too.
freestyle. I think honestly, it's going to go that way. I just think eventually they're gonna start making it more freestyle. Like it's already, you can already kind of tell like the out of bounds stuff is so like it's almost like I know you get banged for stalling, but you don't want to go out of bounds anymore. You're pretty
Right.
close to getting hit for a point at this point. And then they're already trying to implement stuff on top, like you don't get your points unless you get a turn, kind of thing. Like, and obviously it didn't go through, but um,
Yeah, I'm glad it didn't.
I
Because I'm a folk style guy. Like the NCAA season, like, all right, so practice was like today was the official
yeah,
start of the NCAA season, right? So and I loved it. Like just the fact, like, dude, this is my favorite. This is
right,
I eat three. Like I love
yeah,
this.
right,
Like and it's folk style. Like don't get me wrong. Like I love the seniors, the senior circuit. I love U23s, U20s,
mhm,
U17s. And I enjoy watching freestyle. But there's nothing like the NCAA season or going to the state tournaments or just I'm just
I
I'd be heartbroken. I would. I would.
I think I'm with you. I think obviously they should keep folk style, um, and I think they should just leave it kind of how it is. I don't want to see a merge. I think they're two totally not totally different, but they're two different styles, and there's a beauty to folk style wrestling. Like you said, we're the only place that does it, and which makes the NCAAs and college and high school, it makes it so much more fun because this is the highest level of folk style
Folk
wrestling
style.
in the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
And it's like you should even see some of the guys now, like they're implementing folk style moves at Worlds.
Look
Like,
what David Taylor just did. I mean, like he hit the dude. I think he won with a cradle. I mean,
yeah,
like both
I
of his
mean,
matches. Like
so to say that like folk style maybe doesn't translate super to freestyle is just I don't think that's true. So
I agree.
I'd say keep them separate. And obviously, this is the other thing too. It's not like we're lacking in freestyle. Like we're doing pretty well with how we have
Right.
things now. So
It's not like it's broke. Like we're finishing in the top two, top three, winning
yeah,
that. Like we're winning it. Like I mean, we're always one of the top three countries, whether it be Russia, us, Iran, whatever. But like we're up there with them every year doing our thing. Even the women's between them and
oh
Japan. Like I mean, we're doing. I mean, I know they do strictly freestyle, but like we're doing good. Like so,
oh
at the end of the day, like I think there's a lot of people that feel the same way. Like that would we. I don't know. It's just where I got my start. You know what I mean?
right,
Like, and it's the first time it wasn't a freestyle match. It wasn't. It was folk style, and like so. This is what my first love of wrestling has been folk style, and
right.
I I would it would be just terrible if it ever was.
Full
Hey, the
discussion.
NCAA's are freestyle. I'd be like, what?
Yeah, no, yeah, you gotta
No.
keep out of no, yeah. You can add the 3-point, but
Yeah,
No more
yeah.
gut wrenches at NCAA.
Yeah, right, right. I don't want to see laces or nothing.
Yeah.
Not that I don't love it, like,
No,
because it's just there's a certain time and place for it, and I feel
right.
like the way that we have it right now, like I like to set up the final X's and
Oh yeah.
the trial, the team, the challenge, the trials, everything, just like the whole setup. It works, and it's fun for as fans, as somebody that like my days and my shoes are hung up forever, but like as so somebody that sits back and sits back and watches, like I love it. It keeps us entertained all year round because
Yeah.
it there's always something to talk about.
I think I like how they're making it more of an event. I do think, like you were saying, the NCAAs is the greatest
Yeah,
wrestling show ever. Even honestly, it's kind of sad. Like the world championships, I just feel like it's like not as big of a production. Like it's obviously to our minds,
right.
it just wrestling's NCAAs. It's a show. It's a production. It's like a beautiful. As a
It's all.
fan, you
It's
don't
all.
get a better place than NCAAs. So
Everything I've went to in my life, I went to the NCAA's in Cleveland, and I literally never loved it. Footballs, whether it be NFL, college games,
right.
whatever the case may be, baseball game, there was nothing like that. Nothing,
Oh yeah.
nothing like that
Uh-huh.
experience. And I
Exactly.
mean, you got to wrestle in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
What
That
was
was
that like for you, bro?
yeah, that was sick. It was like yeah, I think when I was coming oh, I thought you cut out for a second. I
I
think
seen it.
when I was going into college, I didn't really realize the dates that the NCAA was, and it was up until like that year. I'm like, wait, NCAAs are in Pittsburgh this year. Like I didn't even realize. So to kind of like go like literally from my bed at home to like up to nationals, it's like
That's crazy.
it was crazy. I think they should buy it. I'm biased, but they got to bring it back. I mean, it
Oh,
was
100%.
awesome.
100%. It was phenomenal too. But
Yeah,
I think, and I know it's coming back to Cleveland in like 2, 3 years, 3 years from now.
yeah.
So I think it's like, I don't know, I think Kansas City or
We
it's in
got
Missouri or something
Philly.
this year,
Pretty
Philly,
yeah, something like that.
and then
And
Cleveland.
I know they try to keep it like centralized, which I get, but yeah,
I
no,
don't understand why they took it to Philly and not brought it back to Pittsburgh though. And that ain't nothing against Philly. I hope nobody
oh
watches this
yeah,
and be like, "Oh, you're ripping on Philly." But like,
no,
no
yeah,
disrespect, but once in Pennsylvania is wrestling, and it's
yeah,
not like, "Hey, dude, head out to
yeah.
Eastern Pennsylvania." Like, I've never heard anybody say
I
that.
just I think they just like I think it's planned so far and ahead. Like Philly was probably planned way before Pitt was there, So I'm sure Pitt probably maybe we'll see it down the line. We just don't
I
know
hope.
yet. But
I
yeah,
hope.
I agree though. If it's in PA, bring it to Pittsburgh, man.
Absolutely. If it's gonna be here, let's bring it home. Always,
Exactly.
always. And it was, and like you said, that venue was just it was phenomenal. Like just everything about it. Cleveland was awesome. Pittsburgh was awesome. That's the only two that I've been able to make it to. But like
Yeah.
both, just there's nothing like it, man. And like you said, like with the World Championships, like granted, like I've never got to go to a Final X or World, so I can't sit there and be like, this is
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? But I went just looking at it like through a TV perspective, like when I watch nationals on TV and then I watch, the world championships, it's like, man, there's empty seats like at nationals. Like
Yeah.
you ain't seeing that. It's like that arena slam
Right.
packed with 80,000, 60, whatever it holds. You know what I mean? Like it's seat to seat.
Oh yeah. I mean, I went to I made the U23 team and we were over in Serbia. So we when I was even so I could speak to it, like we were watching the finals and it's like it's just not it's I mean it's the world finals, but then you're just like it's just different, and I get
Right.
like a lot of people say like, well, it's not about the production, it's about the match. And it is, like obviously, but
Fair.
promote wrestling and just to
But
make
that adrenaline, though, like you walking out of that tunnel for the NCAA finals. All right. Tell me you ever had a feeling like that
oh
anywhere else in your life. Like
yeah, that
you
was
got
yeah.
uh, people all over the world watching you on TV, me being one of them. And then you got this entire crowd. I mean, lights going off, your song playing. Like it's just
I
like
know.
I couldn't imagine, bro. Like,
It
and I
yeah,
just don't feel like you're getting that at the senior level. Like the
exactly.
same. That's
Right.
what, and it's not
That's
about
what I'm
like I
saying.
agree with it's about the match, but you still want to have that
Right.
that
Yeah.
man, this is amazing. Look what like all my hard work and like this is just look at what it's you know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Right. You're exactly right. I agree. I don't think people would disagree with that. I think it's
no,
yeah.
no, and that's why I feel like keep it this don't if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. Keep it till the wheels fall off.
For sure, absolutely, brother. But hey, I didn't want to hold you up this long, but I'm going to end it with this because I kind
You're
of
good.
wanted to just see what I try not to hold you guys up because I know
Oh,
you're
you're
busy,
good.
brother, especially with everything. But if you look back at everything, like you said, from U23s to the 2 times NCAAs, the 3 ACCs, like it just everything, the state runner-ups, the state finals, like everything, like if you could look back at a younger you,
Mhm.
would you change any of it if you would? Or what would you tell the younger you, the senior in high school that's getting ready to head to college? What would you say to
Um, I wouldn't change anything. If I could go back and I would love to tell my I was just talking about this the other day, which is funny. I'd love to tell myself that it'll all be worth it. There was a lot of nights, a lot of that times where I was just you're just consumed in this like grind and you're putting a lot into it and you have a lot of doubts and you're wondering like is it gonna be worth it? Am I gonna do all this? And like you're gonna be heartbroken. And even like when I lost the before this year, it's like
around at 12?
part
Yeah.
part of me, yeah, the round top part of me was like, man, do I wanna go through this again and feel like that heart rip out again? Like can I
Yeah.
so if I could go back, I wish I would just tell him, that it will be worth it, as
Awesome.
regardless, not even that you might accomplish your goal, but you'll be at peace with everything, and that's
That's
yeah,
the end
you'll live
goal.
with peace. That's it. That's the goal.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Well, I dig it, bro. I do. And that's you couldn't have ended it more perfectly because at the end of the day, like I think that's what everybody's goal is, man, to sit there and be at peace, be happy with what you put all that work into and that grind into. And you should be as somebody that is just now for the first time sitting down and talking to you. I definitely became an even bigger fan tonight. So it's definitely it just says and not even as the wrestler. Like I hope you go and have an amazing however long you end up deciding to stay on the senior level and do your thing. Like I hope it goes great. I hope you bring home gold, and I'll definitely be rooting for you. But I mean, I became a huge fan of Nino the person, so it's definitely appreciated, bro, more than you know.
Thank you, man. I mean, that means a lot. It truly does. Thank you.
Absolutely, I can definitely attest to, and if and when you see Mr. Mark and Miss Melody, you make sure you let them know that they did a heck of a job raising a great young man.
I will. I will. I love that.
But they absolutely, I mean, they have, man, and I'm sure your brother's right on that same level. And you guys have done some amazing things, and they should both be, and I'm sure that they are very proud.
Thank you, bro.
Absolutely, my man.
Someone's
Well, and
cutting, someone's cutting onions in here, man.
no, gee. Well, you should, man. It was awesome to see you holding that trophy, man. Because as somebody from Western PA and growing up where we did, and it just I like I said, just you can literally watch that video that was on behind me, and if anybody watches this, I hope they do because it shows what just who you are. I think it shows a lot of who you are. Like
Mhm.
I lightweight knew this is who you were going to be without meeting you just by how you spoke whenever you won that national championship. It was just the humbleness of the way that you carried yourself. Just everything was just like this man deserved it. I wouldn't have wanted anybody else at 197 to bring that home for sure.
Heck yeah. Thank you, bro. Thank you so much. I
Yes,
appreciate
sir.
you having me and let me share my story. This was great.
No, man,
I
absolutely.
had a great time. It honestly flew because I love
I
talking.
know. Honestly, that's what I just looked up. It was like 55. He's going to be like, dude, this guy's because I was like, give me 30, man. If I can get 30 with you.
I could talk wrestling forever, man. I
Oh, me too, bro. Me too. Me too. But I definitely, again, man, appreciate it. And good luck with the team this year. I hope you guys keep building Pitt up, keep bringing them up, keep us on the map there in Pittsburgh.
Will do. Will do.
And get that shoulder healthy. I didn't know you had that surgery, man, but I hope it's healing up good, and can't wait to see you back on a mat.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. We'll definitely stay in touch, and yeah, thanks again. This is awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thanks again, bro. We'll talk soon.
No problem. Bye bye.
Bro. Nino Bonaccorsi, NCAA champ. That was awesome too. Man, I feel like I say it every time after every one, but just like such an amazing human being. Like, man, like these kids just they not kids. I mean, these young men are just great. Just somebody you want your kid to look up to. Somebody you want. And his story's phenomenal because like it ain't like he just walked through and just smacked everybody around. Which I mean, he did in high school. Don't get it twisted. Like he's a dog, but like he had peaks and valleys through his time at Pitt, and he just kept working on it. And like he said, like that wrestling mindset, trying to get that head into a good environment because he was putting in the work for all those years of the physical aspect of just training and hitting the weight room and running and staying in shape and eating healthy and cutting weight, doing it all right. There's not a doubt in my mind he was. And but something was keeping him falling up short. And when he said like he got that mindset and got a little closer with God and reached out and just grew within his faith and then grew as a person with just getting to know himself and it led to a national championship. So if anybody takes anything away from this, man, I really hope that you look at his story and know that like you're gonna have some downs. You it ain't gonna go perfect. I promise you, it ain't. My life sure hasn't either. But if you stay on that right track and you keep God in your life, and I mean that's just my opinion. Like and try to just keep that mindset in a good way while keep putting in that good work. Think good things are gonna come. Good things are gonna come, and I promise you. And it might, like he said, it might even come after wrestling. It might not even be on a mat, and even though it might be a little heartbreaking because that's what you put the work in for. But at the end of the day, like if it comes full circle, whenever it comes to whatever you got your degree in, and you're hitting home runs there, and you know what I mean, or shooting a hard double, and however you want to look at it, but just an awesome story, and I hope y'all enjoyed it. Uh, so make sure you keep staying tuned because hopefully we can keep bringing you amazing interviews like this. And just salute to you, Nino. Appreciate you, bro, more than you know. And we love you all for watching Beckley Wrestling. You already know we coming straight at you.